Are you experiencing lower back pain from a disc bulge and you are wondering what can speed up the process of getting better? My name is Maja and I've been a Pilates teacher for the last 12 years, and I am also I was a fellow sufferer of disc bulges. I had 5 lumbar discs bulge on multiple occasions. It was sometimes one at a time, or once it happened all 5 at the same time. They bulged at the same time. So, yes, so what I will be talking about today is a product of my professional understanding of this subject, but also a product of my own experience with disc bulge. So, hopefully, you have already been doing what needs to be done. You went to the doctor and you did the physio and you are exercising. But maybe you're aware that even if you combine all those things together, they still represent such a small amount of time in your life. But what about this huge amount of time that you are out there living your life and still using your body, and maybe the life that you are living is affecting the body that you are trying to heal. And maybe you feel that that effect is slowing down your progress. Maybe you're getting flare ups over and over again. Maybe you feel good after an exercise session that you did, but the next morning you wake up and you're feeling a very strong pain again. Maybe you feel like that the moment you make a step forward, you get pulled 2 steps back. I used to experience those things as well, and it was so frustrating. I remember crying, literally crying, like, what else? What else can I do? What else should I do? And of course, if you ask, the answer will come. So, one part of the answer was about the technique of exercising that I still use today, and I teach to my clients, and I teach it in my program for lower back pain. But that is not going to be the topic of today's video, because today I want to talk about that part outside of exercising, that part that we are living our life and that can either help us in our timeline to getting better, or it can unhelp us. So, the first thing, and in my opinion, the most important thing, is to stop doing things in our life with rounded back. And it kind of seemed impossible to do it because as I was working in a studio as a Pilates teacher, that meant that on a daily basis I was doing some physical work and physical movements, positions that I felt like I couldn't control my body at every single moment of every single day. Like maybe I could straighten my back and be in neutral position while doing one thing, but in the next moment, maybe I would be thinking about my client and what the client needs and what the client is doing, and I just didn't think about my own back, and maybe I would round it and just, it seemed impossible. It's simply not possible to control your every move, right? Well, it turns out not quite right. And it turns out it's not really about controlling every second. It's just like building a new habit. And when it becomes a habit, you don't control it, you just do it. In my last disc bulging episode, which was in 2018, and it was just a few weeks before my wedding, by the way, it was terrible timing. Anyway, a friend gave me a book by Stuart McGill. And Stuart McGill is an expert on the subject of lower back and lower back problems. And in his book, he talks about how in your daily life, spending the majority of that time, as much time as you can, spending it in neutral position of the lower back, neutral position of the spine. So maintaining that small arch in the lower back that we naturally have, how that makes the recovery period much shorter. And the reason why neutral position is helpful and rounding the back is not helpful is because when we round, We shorten the front side of the body and we elongate, we kind of open the back side of the body. So let's say that this is the back side of the body and these are your vertebrae. When you round the back, the front side gets shortened and the back side gets open, and the disc in between the two vertebrae, if it is unstable, it can get pushed more to the back, and in the back is where all the nerves are located. So it is the space where the nerves are going through in our spinal column. So if the disc goes back, it can touch or press on the nerves, and that is what gives you pain, and that is what we want to avoid and what we definitely don't want to happen. We don't want to compromise the nerves. This was a surprising insight for me personally, actually, because as a Pilates teacher, I learned that for disc issues, we should exercise in neutral and we should not round our back, or we should not load the rounded back while we are in that process of getting better from the bulge. So I already knew that, but I did not transfer it to my life outside of the exercise. So this totally made sense. And I started experimenting with it. I tried to spend as much time in neutral throughout my day as possible. It was not easy at first. As I said, it seemed impossible to always be aware of what I'm doing. But after a very short amount of time, it just became a habit. It became usual for me. It became normal for me to keep my back straight or neutral while I'm doing things at work, at home, and so on. I really got used to doing things with straight back. And it doesn't have to be a perfect neutral all the time. You are going to work on your neutral in your exercise classes, right? What you will do in your daily life is just stop irritating your back and you give your back a chance to recover, right? And I know that it is a little bit, moving like a robot. I understand that it is not the most attractive thing in the world, but that robot like movement, robot like lifestyle, it made it possible for me and for my clients. But let's talk, I want to talk about from my personal experience. The robot lifestyle made it possible for me to move without pain now and to not think how I'm going to move, and is it safe for me to move like this? Is it safe for me to round? Can I touch the floor? Can I reach to the side? Whatever. So I would choose the robot life over pain anytime. I would do it again. Because after a decade of pain, after more than a decade of pain and searching for answers, this was the first time that I felt a glimpse of control over what happens to my back. It was the first time that I felt like I'm not at the mercy of my discs, of my lower back, life, universe, whatever, but that actually I can protect myself and that I can stop triggering my pain and that I can stop going back 2 steps after going forward just one. So usually when I tell my clients to try this, to try and be in neutral as much as they can while they're in that getting better phase, usually they don't want to accept it at first, right? Because it seems impossible. As I just told you, it also seemed impossible to me. So when I tell them to try it, they usually say, like, I cannot be thinking about neutral 24 hours a day. How can I have the time to correct my back while I'm lifting my kid? My job just doesn't allow me to do that. I have to sit for a long time at my job and I cannot sit the whole time with straight back. And, I understand this, but then they start, after I tell them this, even if they don't accept it at first, they start noticing things and they start noticing how their usual way of moving is not helping their back, and it is irritating their back. They start feeling the irritation themselves, and then they decide to try it. And that is when their situation starts going uphill. So, bringing awareness to your daily life and consciously changing your positions to be more neutral will significantly decrease your timeline of getting better. And then in your workouts, you will focus on optimizing your neutral position and strengthening the muscles that are supporting the neutral. And that is what is going to help hold everything in its place, help hold your discs in their place. And then when you feel stronger and when you feel more stable, you will start to move more freely and you will leave your robot life behind. But you will be able to do that because your body will be able to handle it and your discs will be able to handle it. So you will feel good doing it. You will not feel fragile while doing it, like maybe now you are feeling. So spending your time in neutral position is not forever. It is just during that time when you feel that your back is not stable and it can easily be triggered. If you'd like to learn how to do a really good neutral position and strengthen the muscles that are supporting it, you can check out my online program, Lower Back Rebuild, that is designed exactly for that. So it is in the form of Pilates classes, and the classes take you from learning the neutral through exercises which are slowly progressing, and through the classes, through the exercises, you are working on optimizing your neutral and making it better and strengthening your muscles that are supporting it. Besides that, you also learn the technique of exercising really well. You learn in a detailed way how to position your body well, how to engage your muscles well, so that you're always safe and you know how to keep yourself safe when you are exercising in these exercises in the program, but also you can transfer that knowledge to other exercises that you may be doing now or after you are done with the disc bulge. So the system I use in the program is Pilates based, but it is adapted to lower back issues or to lower back health, and it is enriched with the things I learned over this long time that I was searching for the best way to approach this subject. The link is going to be in the description below. So that was part one of how to speed up your disc bulging healing process. And I wanted to dedicate a separate video to this subject of spending time in neutral because I want to emphasize how important it is and how much of a difference it can make for you. So in the next part, in the part 2, we will be talking about some other things that we can do. Make sure you're subscribed so you don't miss it. See you soon!